All right. Hopefully, we are live and everything's working. Just going to wait a little bit, see if we have some viewers, and then we'll get started. No data. All right, cool. Awesome. I have confirmation that it is working. So let's get started. All right, cool. I'm just going to pop over to the Vizcom window and then we'll go. Hey everyone, my name is Nico. I am a product expert here at Vizcom, and we wanted to start doing some live stream events on YouTube, and we have a lot of them planned. So if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I highly recommend that you sign up or subscribe to our channel. There's a lot of great content that we have planned that we're going to bring to you. A lot of live events, as well as really cool videos, tutorials, tips and tricks, workflow videos as well. We have a lot planned for you in the content creation department, and so if you want to get the latest updates and everything like that, definitely go and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and like our channel, and go like our videos as well. If you go to our channel, you'll probably notice it looks a little bit different. We're going through and updating the overall look and feel of it. And if you have any feedback or any tutorials or tips and tricks that you want to see, definitely let us know. If you haven't joined our Discord already, go ahead and join it. You can find a link on our website as well. Today, the topic for this broadcast is basically a junk to a sketch. And what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to walk you through a process of transforming kind of anything that you find around and transform it into a pretty cool sketch. So you may have seen something I did previously that looks like this. And this started basically as a bottle cap. So the original design was just a photo of a bottle cap. The story of this basically goes that I was at a restaurant a couple weeks ago. My wife was fiddling with this bottle cap here and put it down on the table. I saw the kind of composition of that. I took a picture. Everyone kind of cracked up. But then I popped it into Vizcom and started to kind of develop it and turn it into a little kind of world. And so what I wanted to do today was walk you through the process, talk about composing photos, talk about using Vizcom and the different render styles, and also share with you a couple of the updates that we recently rolled out. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to put them in the YouTube. I will try and check in on it every once in a while and get back to you on those. So what we're going to do is I'll go back to a new canvas here, and we'll jump in and we're going to get started. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is I'm going to go ahead and import an image here. And I want to talk about, I'm just going to import any of these images. I took a couple of pictures for this, and let's see, we'll start with something like this. So I'm going to open up this image here as kind of a starting point. What I wanted to talk about is photo composition. So you can see I brought in this picture here. And when you're composing photos or taking photos, most cameras will take a photo in an aspect ratio of 4/3. And Vizcom works in an aspect ratio of 16:9, basically widescreen. So there's kind of a discrepancy. And so if you're taking a picture, you're going to want to make sure that either you are okay having these borders because these borders can actually provide some kind of cool framing, or you can use the move tool, and if you hit shift, you can maintain the this level. You can maintain basically the proportions of it, and you can scale it up. But if you do that, I'll go back, just make sure that about 1/5 of your photo when you're taking your pictures, that 1/5 of your picture can be cropped. I should probably back up here a second. We recently launched a challenge on Instagram, Junk to Sketch Challenge, and basically that challenge you can find it on LinkedIn, you can find it on Instagram. That challenge is challenging you to do exactly this. So find some things around your home, take a picture of it, and then transform it into something really cool. So hopefully this live stream will help you there. I'm going to quickly see if there's any questions. And then if not, I'll jump into the to the demo. All right. So I don't see anything so far, but if there are, I'll just make sure to double check that. Cool. All right, let's jump back in. Hopefully everyone can see everything okay. And I'm going to start off with this image. So I think what I'll do with this one is I'll probably crop it. And let's go back. I'll bring that up. And a lot of times what we can do is just kind of starting off with this. We can start off with a render. It's probably a good moment to just talk about this interface. You may notice it looks a little bit different. Today we rolled out a new update, and we updated the interface and updated a lot of the components behind the creation interface, and added a new mode, which hopefully I'll get to preview in this live stream as well. So now render and refine are kind of, you have this little slide toggle here. Everything works quite similarly, but we now have a new reference image, or mix mode is what we call it. And we have updated the little style panel as well. So what I'm going to do here, what I like to do going from a photo is I like to use Technicolor 6 as kind of a starting point. And then I think I'm going to do like large, let's see, large construction vehicle in the desert. And I'll just go with something like that as a prompt, and then do 4 images here, and go with Technicolor 6 and hit generate. We'll see what we get. Whenever you're doing renders, basically what the render engine looks for is kind of the outlines of something. So it's looking for the outlines to build things. So the lines are important in render, and in refine, the colors will be taken into account. These are pretty interesting. I think I'm going to go with probably with this one. The landscape on the case is pretty wild. So I left the drawing influence here at 100%. If I want to change that, I might go back here, and I'm going to drop this down to like 55% and give it a little bit more creative autonomy. Wow. I like this. I really like this. I think there's something pretty cool here. This one's pretty awesome as well. Kind of getting an Oscar Mayer Wiener vehicle vibe from it, but this one actually a little less so. I think that's pretty cool. So we can come in here, and now we can start making some modifications. So I think what I'll do here is I'm going to add new layer to this, and then we're going to kind of work on the wheels and build out some other elements. So we started with a really simple shape, and we can start kind of building on top of this. So I'll add this new layer, go to the brush tool here, and actually I might go to the ellipse tool, add some fill, and I'm going to fill in the wheels. So first, let me select the color. I can hold Alt down and kind of select this like brown color. And then that way I can use the same color there. Because this is on its own layer, I can use the move tool. So the little transform tool, shortcut for that is M, and then I can move it. And in the layers panel, I can just click here and then duplicate this so that if I come onto this layer, I can then move this over. I don't have to draw a new ellipse. I can kind of use this again. Now I can make a new layer, and we can start kind of putting in some details if we want. So I might go to like an orange color and start filling this in. And I don't have to be super precise, but I'm just going to kind of work on various elements here. So I might design in a little cab here and kind of change some elements here. So I can hit that Alt key again and just start painting in. Maybe make this a little bit more geometric and build a cab out of it. If you hit S with the brush tool, you can change the size of the brush. And same thing with the eraser tool. And then maybe I'll outline this with like a gray color. Do something like that and build in that. And then down here, I might make some like more mechanical bits. So maybe I'll just come in and kind of carve out something here. I'll do this on a new layer. You have unlimited layers, so you might as well use them. And then maybe make some kind of little mechanical bits here. So I just want to make this slightly lighter. There we go. Something like that. So I'll start with this, and then we'll go and do another round of renderings. So I'm going to leave that around there. I'll prop this maybe up to around 70. I'm still giving a little bit of creative license here, and we are going to in the desert, large glass cab. We'll see what this gives us. I still have Technicolor 6. I like the mechanical bit that it did down here. That's pretty fun. Not a huge fan of the wheels. And in this early stage, while you're kind of exploring, it's perfectly okay to like kind of go from one thing to another. Like it's actually a good thing to be loose. I have like in these exercises, I don't really have any exact intent. So I'm using Vizcom to kind of help inspire me, and that's why I'm going through and looking at these different ideas, and trying to kind of figure out what makes the most sense. I kind of like what's going on here, and what you can do is maybe I'll like this one, or maybe I wanted to hide this layer and go back to this. We could also go into refine as well. And the new refine update will respect the colors, but it'll kind of refine the idea. And refining directly from Technicolor can also be pretty cool. So I might pop this up to around 60% here and just see what it gives us. I'm exploring. I'm just having fun exploring at the moment. So I'm going to hit generate, and we'll see what that gives us. So that's pretty cool, honestly. There's some cool stuff going on there. Got some glowing lights. You can see that it refined a lot of things here. Refined some of the surfaces up here. And we're starting to get something pretty interesting. I'm going to go with this one, I think. Actually, I think this one's cooler. I'll go with the first option. I kind of like what we're getting in the overall scene. Now, I might change the coloring here a little bit, just because I want to make sure that this is more of a cab. So there's a couple ways I can do that. One, I can paint this in and then do another level of refine. I can also come in and just select a specific area of something using the Inpainting tool. And this will enable me to basically, and then we can just add shift here. And this is enabling me to just select this area and change the overall render of this area. So I might just come in here and change the prompt. We're still in refine here. I'm going to go back to render, and we'll go to large dark glass cab. Yeah. I have to kind of think about the wording here a little bit for the prompt so it understands it. Metal structure. And we'll go with Vizcom General. We'll see what this is going to give us. And you can see it gave that a little bit more of a mechanical look to it. It's starting to look pretty cool. And it only changed that bit. All right, I'm just going to check and see if there's any questions. And then another. If you check the glass cabin, then another. Yep, that's correct, Gaston. So you can just select that. You can do another round as well. So sometimes like doing a couple of these, like stacking them can help as well. And you now with the refine mode, you can even do refine with Inpainting. It's a little bit works a little bit better. So just to show you what that looks like. So this starts taking on a little bit more photorealism. All right. So I think kind of the rest of the image we need to start working on as well, because this can maybe put some panel separation gaps and things like that just to kind of help it out. So I'm going to confirm this, and then we'll go through and kind of start making this a little bit more mechanical. Go back to the brush tool and go back to render mode, and we can start kind of adding some more details. Make sure I go to a new layer, primarily because if you draw directly on this and then want to erase it, that can sometimes hamper the results. So we can start sketching in some details here. And remember, in render mode, lines can kind of change things. So even though these may look relatively subtle, this could change depending on the influence that we give it. Back here, I might actually color this panel in. So we'll add new layer. We can now organize layers on all right. So I might just color this in. Let's see. All right, so that layer has the details. I might color this lower panel in just for some consistency. I'll select that and then increase the brush size a little bit. Come on. Oh, lovely. That's not cool. Not sure what happened there. Sorry about that. There we are. We're back. make sure I get the color that I want. So I'm going to go with this lighter brown here and just kind of start painting this in. And I'm really loose. It's okay to be loose because I can come back, use the eraser, clean things up, and fill things in as well. Basically, we're going to use Vizcom to kind of also help us. So, all right. And we'll go back and we'll do one more render. Actually, I'm going to do a refine on this. I'll try it without the prompt, just to kind of let it do the refine. And we should get something pretty cool. Now, remember, we started with essentially 2 Oculus controllers and an Oculus case, and that was our input. And now we're nearing a pretty interesting little concept vehicle. Cool. And if we go back, you can kind of have this conversation. So we can go back with this and drop it back into Technicolor and see what it gives us. And if we want to go recover a prompt, the layer names are the prompts. So I can double click here, Control A, Control C, and then bring that right back here, and we can go back. So if I do Technicolor on this, we're going to lose some of the colors. But sometimes I like to actually use this. I'll build it up, use it, and then go back. Or if we go to Vizcom General, we'll get something a little bit more photoreal. So I'll try Technicolor just to see what we get. And if I don't like it, then I'll go back to the Vizcom General. I like to kind of bounce around and use the various render modes. You can see that this gave something based on that image, something that's really cool, like a different direction. This one has red wheels, even more mechanical bits in it. It's it's starting to give different ideas. This is why I like to do the kind of bouncing around and seeing things, in addition to the ability to because you have layers. If you add the layers together, you can essentially compose the layers on top of one another. So it's a workflow that's really exploratory. Man, I like this one a lot. I think I'm going to go with that. And what I mean by using the layers is, for example, this is essentially the same image. It didn't change a whole lot. So we have the opacity, and we can use the opacity slider and combine the images to get a little bit more light or shininess on top of it. So like here, I'm lowering the opacity. I still have these kind of red wheels. I get the glowing lights and the glowing metal from before. And then if we go back to refine, this is where you can start getting some pretty cool things. So I'll come up with a higher percentage on refine. And the reason I'm doing that is I basically want to keep the drawing influence. I want to influence and the refine result. But what's cool is that with the new refine tool, you can use a much higher percentage, and it'll refine the image even more. And you can see we have some new surfacing on there. So just a quick kind of rundown of where we've come from. We started with basically that. And now we have essentially arrived at this. And it's not finished yet, but it's a pretty fun little exercise. I'm going to quickly check on the questions, see if there's any questions I can answer, and then I'll get right back. No additional questions. All right, cool. I hope you guys are finding this useful. Feel free to put the questions in the chat. I'm around, so would love to answer any of them. Go back up to render, and I'm actually going to go back to Vizcom General, and I'm going to use this as an input and see what this gives us using Vizcom General at this point. Moment of truth. We got a lot of chrome. It's probably because of the word glass. So I'm gonna take that word out because right now it's trying to make everything essentially glass. So let's take that out. And we'll go generate. If you give a color to it, so we can like do, oh, this is cool. But if you specify a color, that color will essentially dominate the overall rendering. So what do I mean by that? When you're building prompts, the order of the words is pretty important. So like the words, essentially like however you lay out the words, the ones at the beginning will take more priority over the ones later. And so, for example, if I say bright orange, comma, large construction vehicle, you'll see that if I just go with that and hit generate, this is going to, there's going to be a lot of orange that's going to be added to this. So bright orange will essentially take over the rendering. And that's not a bad thing, see? So bright orange is essentially there. We can put in bright orange large construction vehicle in the desert. I'm just going to do large construction vehicle, and then big black tires or big off-road tires. Large off-road wheels. And we'll regenerate this. So as it generates, essentially, orange is still, because it's the first term, it's going to be having a lot more influence. I'll move this back. So I'll put orange frame under here and we'll regenerate this. So you can see it's giving a little bit more color at this point to the wheels. Orange is still quite prevalent. It's the only color we specified, but it is not as prevalent or as dominant, I should say, as it was before. All right. I'll change the prompt a little bit more and then clean this up. Or probably the best part is just to come in here and do a selection. So we'll do an inpainting here, and then we'll do orange tank. General. I'll drop the drawing influence down quite a bit, and we'll generate. It literally took tank. That's pretty fun. Cargo area. Maybe I'll change that to cargo area. So you can see how prompting definitely changed that. And that's not a bad thing. You can explore the ideas. And here, for example, this is exactly what I was going for. So I can update that. Now I get literal cargo area. Cool. And we'll come over and refine this, and hopefully I think I want to make the wheels black. So I might just come in on new layer and add some more and I'm going to, with these, I'm essentially going to just lower their opacity so they darken the wheels. There you go. We'll do refine, do it 75%. And I think for this, I'll stop there. I have a couple other demos I want to do, but I'll just check and see if there's any other questions. Looks like there's a couple of them. So when I see blue hair and green dress, sometimes those. Yep. Good point, Opie. Right. So when it comes to like the color order, the other thing is you can always put weights in the colors as well whenever you're going for colors. So if you want to have a color that is more dominant, you can, in the prompt, you can put the like the color in parentheses and then add anything between 0 and 2, and that will basically give a priority to the order of the colors. So yeah, I think I'll stop here for this one. I'm going to go and do another scene kind of more like landscape. But I wanted to start with kind of a little vehicle concept, and I think this came out okay. If I put a little bit more time into it, it could be pretty cool. But I'm pretty impressed with the overall result. And let's see, I don't know. It kind of gets addictive sometimes, where you just I'll try mining vehicle and refine just to kind of see what it'll give us. Gets a little bit addictive. Sometimes you just want to do like one more. It's like that one more. It's like gambling. You're like, one more. What could I get with one more? So it just takes that like extra, wow. Yeah. There we go. I really like that one. Cool. Very cool. All right. So I'm going to go and do another one that's kind of more of a landscape. And I will answer any questions if there's any others on this. So very cool. All right. I'll go start a new file. And we're going to do kind of more of like a cityscape or landscape. So one thing that I recommend, if you're starting with a photo, you can import an image. I'll do it just as demonstration. If you just hit create, you can always import an image on top of that. But if you import an image directly, especially one that is like 4/3, if you're importing a photo, if you import it directly, you're going to get basically a transparent background. Whereas if you import it afterwards, you're importing it on top of a white background. All right, so let's go with this. So this is going to import. Just give it a second. All right, cool. And I think what I'm going to do here, so you can see the transparent background. So I just want to, I'm just going to, under render, go to Technicolor. I really like starting with Technicolor. And I'm going to put in 2 vehicles in a herb. And I'll drop this down again, 65%, Technicolor 6, 2 vehicles in an urban setting, and hit generate. And remember that kind of like border, those transparent borders, this is what I mean, that they can kind of like act as like a frame. So they can kind of frame your image in a way. You can see the wood texture went a little crazy here, but it's actually really cool. Ooh, I like what's going on here. This is pretty fun. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with this one. This is pretty cool. And just from like in one step, we went from just a little kind of funky little photo to, I think this is something that has the potential to turn into something really cool. So we'll add a couple layers, and we can start kind of adding some influence to it. I might just do a second iteration on this though, just to kind of see what happens if I drop this down even more on top of this. Trying to see if there's anyone that I want to work with. This is too blurry. I like the kind of architecture in the scene. We could probably work with this, honestly. So I'll go with this. And then maybe straight into refine. I'm just going to do no, these are not what I want. So I'll go back. I'll add some more context for refine. So sometimes I'll go to explore. I'll see if there's anything I can do. And if not, then I'll go back and we'll add some context. So here we can add some context. So we'll go ahead and give some wheels to the vehicles and the scene. All right, cool. So just adding in some context here. We'll probably change these a little bit. So in render mode, if you're rendering something, essentially the outlines of things are going to be what matter. So I'm going to kind of change certain parts of this. Actually, hold on. And so this is where you can get kind of creative and just kind of filling this stuff in. And editing the image right in Vizcom. So I'm just hitting Alt and painting and kind of changing this whole scene a little bit. Come back. Let's see. We'll go back to Technicolor. And we're going to generate some more renders. And while we do that, I'm going to look for some questions. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Opie. So essentially set refine to 15%, put something completely unrelated in the prompt and see what it makes. Yeah. So Rosalie, you had a great question regarding the prompting. One thing I wanted to say about that is let me go show you. So if you want some really great advice on prompts, let's see, I hope this shows up. Essentially, if you go to the bottom right, there's a question mark here. If you pop this open and go to documentation, that's going to open up, in my case, a new tab. And if you go to the prompts, there's really good information in the documentation about writing prompts. So essentially on Vizcom, we want to keep it simple. So unlike other generative engines where it's like a whole paragraph, and like the longer the paragraph, the more details you give it, usually in Vizcom, we start simple and we'll start adding more information as you go along. But you can keep it relatively simple and get some pretty cool results. So here, for example, hopefully you can see this. It'll say, let's see, let me just make sure. Yeah, okay, cool. So essentially here you can see silver concept car, dark studio made of Lego bricks. And like these are relatively simple prompts and you get really good results. And the input sketch or input image that goes in will make a big difference. So, and then here you can have like control your visuals. So main areas worth to control, color, material, the object, the view, the setting, background, and scene. And if you want a brand DNA, you can put that in. If they're a really strong brand, sometimes that brand will overtake it. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll wait to put in the brand. Also, the color and material that can dramatically change the result. So sometimes I will just kind of go without a color material if I don't need it right away, and then I'll bring that in later. So highly recommend taking a look at the documentation for prompting. It's really great. This is pretty much everything you need to know. Our product expert Gergely and the team put this together. It's amazing. It's worth your time taking a look at. And back over here, we're getting some pretty cool results. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and take kind of a page from, as I think Opie said, we'll go to refine, we'll drop this down. And I'm just going to put shiny. Actually, vibrant colors. It really wants to. It's pretty wild, honestly. We'll go with 50% in refine. Now this is pretty cool. I like this. So we have this kind of really interesting urban scene that started, this could be like, this started just as a picture of a battery case, a mouse case, and a Lenovo box. That was the starting image, and that's where we wound up. So you can see that using Vizcom and this technique, you can get to some really interesting areas. You can really go crazy and have some pretty fun exploration. And when you're in this phase, you can, there's a lot that we could have taken this. For example, we can still go back, maybe put this in render mode, and then use Vizcom General, and we'll go back up to 90, and this will give us a different result. So this is kind of, I'm just going to do that gambling thing that one last time, see what we get in Vizcom General. This could be pretty cool. And the prompt was vibrant colors, so we did definitely get vibrant colors. This is pretty awesome, honestly, in terms of a graphic. But that's probably not the result we want, so we'll go back in. Evening lighting. So 2 vehicles on the street, urban setting, evening lighting. We'll see if we can change this to kind of more of a night scene. I really wanted to make 2 vehicles having a collision interesting. Parked. And the reason that it probably did that, just to explain why it might have, why it made it interpreted this part as a nose. If you look at this, the line work here in terms of contrast and tone is very similar. So that's probably why it tried to kind of add like a front to this like van looking thing. I might drop this down a little bit more to be more creative. Or actually cancel it. I'm going to go back up, keep this a much higher percentage. Go check the comments. No, we're still getting the same thing. And that, again, actually here, this is cool. And if we do that one more thing, we can refine that. I'm just increasing the relevance or the drawing influence. I think that this is kind of a cool little. I kind of like the feeling of this. I might just I could come in and change that prompt. But for now, I'm going to stop with this one. This could continue. We could continue working on that. And the one thing I haven't shown, just in the interest of time, is I just wanted to show what you can do with the reference image new function. So we now have a new function. You can see that we have render and refine, but we now under style, we have the 4 styles. So Vizcom General, Volume Render, Pastel, Technicolor, which I've used General and Technicolor in this. But we now have something called reference image. So we can now bring in a reference image, and this can get really, really interesting. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, and we'll go click or drag. You can drag in an image. I'll go back to, and I'll just find an image here that we can use. Might as well, let's see, I'll do something like this. And actually, let's come in. Bear with me just a second. I'm trying to find a good image to use. Yeah, we'll go with this. So I have a kind of this really crazy modern architectural image. And we can choose, if you click on the image here, you can choose the influence of it. So you can see the image I'm using. I'm going to drop this down to about 90%, and then I'll leave this at 95%. And if you hit generate, what this is going to do is it's going to apply the style of that image to the overall, what you already have on the canvas. This works really, really good with line sketches. It's really, really cool what you can do with like very simple line sketches. It can apply to pretty much anything. You can get some pretty cool results. So you can see I took this kind of architectural style image, and it totally changed the overall look and feel of what we were working with. And you can add as many reference images as you want. So we can add another one if we wanted to. And they can pretty much be anything. If we wanted to add something like this is like a little SUV. This is going to give a whole different feeling. And it's a new feature. We just rolled it out today. It's really, really awesome. I highly encourage all of you to go try it. Like I said, if you just have a basic sketch, it can work really nicely with just a really simple sketch. Let's see how this applies to the scene. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So some pretty cool little scenes, and we could go back and probably refine these. And you'll have a whole different end result. All right, I'm going to go back and look at some of the comments really quick. And then if there's any questions I can do, I'll wrap up. All right, doesn't look like there's any recent questions. So I will go back. Actually, I'm going to exit out of this. And just to show a little project that I worked on. Let's say just a drawing influence, we'll go to the reference image just to show kind of how it can change. So we have a pretty cool image here, and I'm just going to add another reference image, and I'll add that same SUV one. And let's see, I think the prompt on this was carbon fiber. And this bike, by the way, was, oh, give me a second. This bike was created in Vizcom off a very simple sketch as well. It's wanting to fill in the wheels. It's taking a little too much influence. But it is a cool race bike. Let's go back to the line work. So we can go here. I'll add that reference image. And then I'll recover the prompt. Except I'll just put blue. And while it's doing that, I didn't even change it. Both of these are at 100%. I didn't even change the percentages. So we'll see what we get. Could be pretty cool. Sometimes I go in and I'll change the influence percent. Yeah, on the bikes, this is the first time I'm doing it on the bike, but you're still getting something pretty cool considering the input image. And we can then go in and clean up the wheels. But the carbon fiber, I haven't seen this before. This is pretty cool. The texture on it. Before, if you prompted carbon fiber, you would not have got that. So it's really interesting. Pretty cool result in a way. I like the texture that you're getting here. If we were to zoom in on this one, you can see that you're getting some carbon texture. And these are not the final. So like this is just a starting point. So keep that in mind. Like whenever you're starting with this stuff, sometimes like this is just the first thing. It's like putting a base color in, and then you'll refine it. You can go in, you can add details to it, and everything will get a lot better with time. But I just wanted to kind of caveat that, like, I was able to take a line sketch, a really simple line sketch. So if I were to confirm that, and another image, and basically just like fill that in, and then we can then start refining it. So an image like this, this had a couple passes of refine, but if you saw it, like the way it started was much more simple as well. And so this with a couple refine passes will look really good. that said, we're a little bit over time, and so I should probably wrap things up, and I'll just see if there's any final questions, and then I don't see any. So I'm going to wrap things up. For everyone who came and stayed through, I really appreciate it. And we're going to be doing more of these. I really look forward to doing more and showing you more and new tools. Go check out the new updates, the new refine mode, the new mix mode or reference image mode. And yeah, and also don't forget about a challenge on Instagram with the Juncta sketch. Have fun with that. If you have any questions, join us on our Discord. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, be sure to do that. And look forward to seeing you on the webs and all the cool stuff you're going to create with Vizcom. Take care and have a great evening, great day, wherever you are. See you later, guys.